Welcome back to the third episode of GeoTV. In this episode, we're going to dive into the public perception of geothermal energy and to find out why it's still flying under the radar. Spoiler alert, we've got some work to do. But first, let's rewind a little bit. At the Breakthrough Energy Venture Summit in London earlier this summer, Dr. Eric Thune actually highlighted geothermal as a crucial part of the renewable energy mix. Let's have a look at what Dr. Eric Thune said at his speech.
Geothermal remains a massively underutilized resource. New technologies have relieved some of the limitations of geothermal. Long ago, you needed heat, water, and permeability. Now we know we can introduce permeability and water, and so a large fraction of the United States, for instance, is amenable to geothermal. There's a lot more we can do, especially by going to higher temperatures. Temperatures approaching 400 and 500 degrees Celsius. That'll require new technology for drilling. It'll require new technology for building and operating reservoirs.
The summit focused on the 5 grand challenges and the technologies that can help reduce the staggering 51 billion tons of global emissions to zero. Let's hear about Christina and Alex's reflection after the event.
Bill Gates' organization, Breakthrough Energy, is the one that gives out this report. And Breakthrough Energy Venture is an organization that was founded by Bill Gates back in 2015. And they have 3 different areas. They look at very early research, they look at innovative companies, but they also look at how to deploy that technology large scale. Because if we're going to solve these issues, it needs to be large scale.
And as you said, he wants to solve these issues with the company and partly with this report. But the report starts in the state of the world right now.
Yes.
So let's start by talking about where do these emissions actually come from?
Generating electricity, 29%.
Number 2.
Building things, 29%.
Number 3.
Growing food, 20%.
Number 4.
Transportation, 15%.
And last but not least,
keeping buildings warm and cool, 7%.
And the interesting thing about this report, as it is that they have done a state of the situation in each of these areas where they look into what can be done, what are the key aspects that we need to move forward on, but also educating us on each and every level. But he actually talks about a couple of things that are general for all of this. And there is one word that stands out. It's the first thing you read when you open this. And what is that?
That's innovation.
That's correct. You got it. 1 point, Alex.
Thank you.
Now, let's have a look at the latest updates from our friends and partners at ThinkGeoEnergy. Over to you, Carlo.
Thank you, Gabriela. I am here right now at the Indonesia International Geothermal Convention and Exhibition, bringing you the latest news stories from the global geothermal industry. Here at ThinkGeoEnergy, we like to highlight innovative projects that push the boundaries of what is possible with geothermal. One such project is the utilization of super hot geothermal systems. These systems have huge potential, but dealing with high temperatures and pressures also presents unique challenges. To learn a little about the work being done in the field of super hot geothermal, we talked to some of our friends from Iceland Geosurvey, Hephae Energy, and Well Guidance during the recent Iceland Geothermal Conference.
The Compass project is one of the research projects that we are working in, and that is aiming to increase the structural reliability of the downhole structure. And by introducing, of course, relying on all the technology, but introducing also novel technologies into it. For example, we are looking into cladding solutions, material selections, cementing solutions for long casings. Then we have the flexible coupling that is here on the table, where we are trying to get rid of thermal expansion problems that can result in casing failures. And we're also developing a new tool or new technology for the casing integrity to get rid of casing collapse. It's an annular pressure buildup relief system.
Right. When you look at the LCOE for geothermal, we've got to be able to compete with other renewables, with natural gas. And in the case of geothermal, our slogan, hotter is better, is really true. If we can get down to temperatures close to 300 degrees Celsius, it reduces the LCOE by a significant amount, 50%. And the one thing that's keeping us back from doing that is just absolutely no drilling technology that goes above 200 degrees Celsius. So with our plan to go to 300 Celsius, we think we're going to open the whole of the world to geothermal energy.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about district heating. We want to electricity and all that stuff. So you need to have the heat to do that. I mean, there's plenty of geothermal stuff around that just does your local district heating and things like that. But here in Iceland, as you see, how much you can actually make with really hot geothermal, and we can take that to everywhere in the world, And there's still lots of potential out there to get this ball rolling in that direction.
Electricity generation from geothermal had just recently celebrated its 120-year anniversary. This aspect of geothermal development has come a long way, but it can still be further refined or improved. Ormat Technologies recently launched a new turbine design that promises better efficiency, operational flexibility, and ease of maintenance. Let's learn more about Ormat's new plain bearings turbine. Innovation in geothermal isn't just restricted to technology. It can also be in the form of new business models. Over in Kenya, a planned geothermal project aims to supply sustainable electricity and heat for drying for the facility of cement manufacturer Carson & Sons. This is a major milestone for what is generally considered an industry with hard-to-abate CO2 emissions. To learn more about this project, we asked our friends over at Steam, the firm assigned to be the project's owner's engineer.
I'm excited to bring an update on our owner's engineering project in Kenya, where we're working with Carson Ramsey & Sons on their combined heat and power Ndovu cement project. Using existing steam and brine from the Menengai field, we are engineering not only a new power plant, but also a brine-powered dryer to process the environmentally friendly substitutes for clinker that is the most carbon-intensive component of cement. The project is important because it shows how geothermal can be used creatively to have a real positive impact to decarbonization and the industrial development.
Geothermal is rapidly evolving in many parts of the world. This also means that new solutions will be needed. We at ThinkGeoEnergy continue to highlight these efforts as well as all the latest updates on geothermal projects globally.
Here's a cool fact. Did you know that 29% of the world's electricity comes from renewable sources now? And that number is growing every year.
Let's see how much the public actually knows about geothermal energy. We are here in Stockholm, Sweden, testing the public knowledge. Could you name 3 renewable energy sources?
Solar power, wind power, and hydropower.
Solar, hydro, and what's my third one? Tidal.
Great. Have you ever heard about geothermal energy?
Yep.
Wind energy, solar energy, water, kind of energy.
Well done.
What they use in the Alps, basically. That's it.
Do you know what geothermal energy is?
Not really. Tell me.
I think I have, but how it works I couldn't explain.
It's energy generated from the heat transfer deep in the earth, something like that. No.
Well done. If I say solar power and hydropower, can you think of another renewable energy source?
Atom.
Atom? Yeah. Nuclear?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard about geothermal energy?
Nej, det tror jeg ikke. I don't think so.
Well, good to know. Sun power, hydropower, and
Wind power?
great. Have you heard about geothermal energy?
Yes.
Great. Happy.
I'm hoping you're not going to ask me any questions about it.
No. Har du hört talas om geotermisk energi?
Absolut.
Kan
vi
du
har
förklara
väl
det?
mycket på Island väl?
Ja, stämmer. Tror du att vi har det i Sverige?
Osäker faktiskt.
Have you heard about geothermal energy?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
I'm actually impressed by how many people knew the basic concepts of geothermal energy. But it's also clear that what comes to mind is sun, wind, hydro, and we want people to say sun, wind, and geothermal. And that's exactly what we have been working on. As an industry, we need to unite our message to the public. And I recently sat down with my colleague Christina to hear about her important work about the Declaration of Communication and how it all started. Let's have a look.
I'm so happy to give it airtime from the bottom of my heart. It started in 2020. For me, it started in 2020 when I started at Baseload Capital. And my assignment was to set their marketing, so their communication plan. And I started asking them about why are they working? What is it that they love? And I realized in the answers I got back that this is something that is much bigger. At the time I didn't know anything about geothermal, to be honest. It was just another gig for me at the time. And there was one of these answers that came back that really struck me. And it was from a person called Simon, and he answered that I want to be able to look my grandchildren in the eyes when they ask me what I did in the 2020s to prevent all of this. And I realized that this is something bigger. And I was pretty engaged, and I started talking about it, but I realized that as I was speaking about it, no one knew what I was speaking about. It was a clear barrier, and I didn't know exactly how to explain it, and I realized that whoever I talked to, they answered me, what is geothermal? Got me thinking a little bit about why isn't this bigger than it actually is.
So what was the next obvious steps for you? Where did you go from there?
So it was a bit of like a fluke, because we had a virtual seminar at the time, and we had the amazing Marit Brommer from International Geothermal Association on this webinar, and I was asking her questions. I was interviewing her, and I was asking her what she thinks, and in the end she said
that thank you for providing two things to geothermal energy worldwide, and that is airtime and money. Airtime, money, those are the two things that geothermal substantially lacks when you compare that to the other technologies that are out there.
And that struck a nerve with me, and I realized like, okay, this industry actually needs me or needs marketing generally. So I thought that this is something I can do more of. And I started getting more and more engaged, and I started asking questions around about what other people think about this, which actually led to this digital workshop. To this workshop, I invited a person called Graeme Edge. And he emailed me one day and he said, hey, take a look at this. And he sent me a paper. And this paper was from a man called Peter Tate. It was on geothermal, and he was answering the question, why are we not bigger than we are? And he basically framed it that it is a marketing problem. And it dawned on me that, yeah, this is actually something we can solve, because it's a solvable problem. If it's a marketing problem, then we just need to find a good messaging, we need to get the tools, and we need to get the airtime. So this digital workshop came out really good, and there were many people who were attending this. We had Fervo, we had Ever, many early adapters were talking about this. And the conversation continued even at the panel at the VGC at Iceland later. That was 2021. And it was organized by ThinkGeoEnergy, Alexander Richter, and Marit Brommer and the International Geothermal Association. And we invited Will Petit at the time at Geothermal Rising. We had Andrea Blair, she was the president of IGA at the time. We had people from defense, we had people from finance, and we were discussing different things, answering the question, why aren't we bigger than we are? And during this debate, it was so obvious that it is an awareness problem. People do not know what geothermal is, and we as an industry have not been able to convey this message to the public. The message of how amazing we are, what we can actually solve, how we can help, how we can be a part of it. If we're going to talk about how we're going to solve it, they also need to know what it is. And that's where it started.
Nobody actually cares about geothermal. Nobody cares about it, and I'm sorry, I love geothermal. People care about plugging into sustainable, ethically produced energy. So the more we frame and get technical about the wording, the more we talk about this and that, the more we lose interest from people. People care about catalyzing economic development. People care about jobs. People care about their environment they live in. People care about, all of those things. And so the more we talk about geothermal versus wind versus, no one cares. No. The sooner we can say, we can transform your community, we can provide you food production, we can give you 100 jobs in a town of 5,000. We can, those are the ways that we should be talking about geothermal. We get caught up on the words, and the reality is we don't offer geothermal. We offer real solutions to people about their lives and the way that they live.
We hired a marketing company, a really fantastic creative group out of Washington, D.C. that did a fantastic job for us, and they did a study on how we should be marketing geothermal, and this was why we rebranded to Geothermal Rising from Geothermal Resources Council. And so one of the key things that they turned around to us was, you need to be extroverted. As an industry and as a community, you're spending way too much time talking amongst yourselves and talking at yourselves. And you need to be actually talking out there. You need to be engaging with the public. You need to be getting the messages out. You need to be telling the public the story that is using the earth to save the earth.
I remember feeling that I didn't understand how we actually formed it, because live on this event, we actually said it. So now next step is to form a task force, and then we realized we have to do this task force. And together with the IGA and the ThinkGeoEnergy, we actually did. So we invited geothermal experts from all over the world to think about different topics about how we can do it. So we were asking questions about messaging, we were asking questions about visual identity, how we want to be perceived. And we started to gather all this material. This task force ended up as a new workshop where we gathered more material at the next International Geothermal Association conference that was in China. And also the same year we had the workshop as well in Reno at the Geothermal Rising conference. And by then we had loads of material about what people actually were thinking. We had suggestions of uniting some hashtags, about united messaging, about how we should use pictures, and everything was pointing in one direction. And from our side, we actually felt that we need to do something with this material. We want to give back. So everybody's been providing us material. So this is actually a possibility for all of us stakeholders involved in this to give something back. So a solution, a way of moving forward.
All of this material, what did you decide to do with it?
We have summarized it into a abstract and a format, and we have submitted it, so it's actually a paper at the GRC. But it also is an open letter in this paper, where it actually urges and asks everyone in the industry to unite behind this. We are talking about finding one united language, how we describe ourselves. Let me give an example. I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to be at Washington, walking the hallways of the Hill. And what I hear there is that we as an industry are coming from different directions, telling the stories of our own technology or our part of this industry, or speaking for myself. And one of the senators actually said back that you need to come as a unity and talk to us. That's how all the other ones do it. You cannot come alone. And I know that many have heard me say this before, but if we want to go far, we need to go together. It's not possible for us to go alone. So that's why we need a united messaging, and this is what we want to achieve with this. So we want as many people to stand behind this as possible. We want everybody to sign it. We already have a lot of stakeholders signed up for this, and I hope that every company in this industry stands behind it. It is not a competition. It is a way forward. We will present further details at the Geothermal Rising Conference in Hawaii, where we will be present on stage together with stakeholders that have been a part of realizing this declaration of communication. And this is where we hope to meet and talk and discuss with more people, and of course, get as many as possible on board so that we can grow as an industry.
There's a lot of work to be done, and we are eager to get to work. The next episode of GeoTV will be shot at the GRC conference on Hawaii. We look forward to meeting you there or afterwards on our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more episodes of GeoTV, and remember, the Earth has power. Let's switch it on.